Hey there, Magic players. Barry White with MagicUntapped.com and Magic Untapped on YouTube. With me, as you can see, is Wizards of the Coast's own Aaron Forsythe. Aaron, how are you doing this MagicCon Chicago?
Really great. It's a great crowd, great show, having a lot of fun.
Now, you just got done with the panel talking about some upcoming things. How did that panel go?
Well, yeah, it was our preview panel. Myself, Mark Rosewater, Roy Graham, and Blake Rasmussen went over 4 sets that are coming out this year. And as expected, every time we showed a new card, the crowd went crazy. So it's perfect.
People do like new cards.
Yes, this is a great crowd for showing new Magic cards too.
It is. Let's talk about a couple of those new sets coming up. Let's start off with Modern Horizons 3. I know a real big ticket item set. A lot of people are already talking, speculating, and you showed a few cards. We'll talk about that in a second. But just give me the elevator in a nutshell. Tell me a little bit about Modern Horizons 3.
Well, it follows in the footsteps of the very successful Modern Horizons 1 and 2 in that it is meant to create content specifically tailored to the modern metagame and the modern player. It is mostly new cards, new designs, with a handful of reprints taken from older sets or supplementary products to add those into Modern as well. And we throw in a cycle of fetch lands because those are linchpin cards for the format as well. And there you have it.
And talk about some of the cards that have been shown off, because I know you got a lot of oohs and ahs on some of what people have learned.
Right. So the 3 big selling points for this set, you know, the big ticket items are we have double face cards, and the specific ones we showed are. There's a cycle of Origin-style flip walkers. So you know, a legendary creature on the front that shows the Planeswalker character. And then something happens in the game and they turn into a Planeswalker. We showed a Johnny's card. We showed Tamiyo's art. So those are 2 of the 5 that are in the cycle. Because this is a modern focused one, the power level on them is a little higher than what you saw even in Origins. So the Johnny's 1/2 for 2 mana. That comes with a 2/1 token. So that's a lot of stats already. Then if a cat dies, he flips into a Planeswalker with a whole bunch of really cool abilities. So really kind of the next evolution of those Origin-style flipwalkers. The next thing we showed was more Eldrazi. So we were returning new versions of the 3 Eldrazi Titans. We previewed Emrakul, who has a madness cost of 6 colorless pips, which is just a crazy thing to try to figure out how to do.
Of colorless pips.
Right? How are you discarding a card and having 6 colorless? Maybe the Tron lands will help you able to do that or something.
Hence.
But yeah, colorless mana cards are back as well. There's a lot of Eldrazi. Just because they're all mostly been eradicated from the core canon storyline, the only way we can ever revisit them is a kind of a throwback set like this. So it's a perfect opportunity to do that. And the third big one was Energy, another old mechanic that's pretty complicated, but it has its fans. It was really powerful in Standard when Kaladesh and Ether Revolt came out, and it's been a while since we've made any new ones. So we did that here. There's several draft archetypes based around the Energy mechanic, and a bunch of new cards that will plug into some of those older Kaladesh cards in Modern, and hopefully make some cool new decks there as well.
Now, I know a concern that people said, and it's one of those lessons learned concern, Modern Horizons, the original, had to push power level, and it changed the Modern format to a noticeable amount. Same with Modern Horizons 2 with cards like Ragavan, and it changed the format a significant amount. Are we going to see that same sort of shift with Modern Horizons 3, do you think?
There will be a shift for sure. I mean, that is kind of the goal of the product. It's hard to predict how much there's going to be. I will admit that Modern Horizons 2 moved things farther than we had even anticipated. So we have a target. It's a ton of unknown information. The metagame changes a lot, even from when we finish the product to now, but to when it comes out. So we will see. I mean, we're certainly hoping for an impact. I think Modern's kind of settled into a spot now where there's a couple really good tier 1 decks with Rhinos, Yawgmoth, a couple other things like that, and people are asking for a shake-up. Are we supposed to ban something else, unban something else? Well, we have a product coming out that we think is going to do that work and inject some new life into that format.
In creating a project like this, like Modern Horizons 3, how do you actually go about it? Like, what are some of the discussions you have behind the scenes that a lot of players might not know are being discussed?
There's a couple things. One is like the reprints that we're putting in. We've kind of planned those out across many years. Like how powerful do we want to add things in? and like doling them out in responsible chunks. So those cards you're going to see move the needle a little bit. We showed Priest of Titania and Lelia as the ones at the panel. There's some other cool ones in there as well. And then the cool thing about working on Modern Horizons, as opposed to all of the standard sets that we work on, with standard, like the real world hasn't experienced any of the format that we're testing when we're trying to make the cards. Like we're guessing what we think standard is going to be like every time we're testing a new set. It's just a total guess. Sometimes we're pretty accurate, and sometimes we're wildly wrong, and we make cards that don't end up working the way we wanted because the metagame shook out a completely different way. With Modern, because of the data we can collect from Magic Online and real world tournaments, we have a pretty good idea, better than standard by a lot, of what we think the metagame's going to look like by the time the product comes out. I was just talking to Brad Nelson earlier at the show today. Brad was brought in as a contract playtester on Modern Horizons 3.
And Brad, of course, has a good history with Wizards.
Yes, Brad worked on Modern Horizons 2, Brad worked on Modern Horizons 3, Pro Tour, stalwart for many, many years. Amazing Magic player. We had him, we had Brian Bronduin, and we had Mason Clark come in this time as our kind of external Modern focused playtesters. Brad was like, I think the metagame is close to what we thought it was going to be when we were testing this, so we think things are going to work out the way we want. No promises there. I love hearing that. So that means we're doing our homework. But the proof's going to be in the pudding. We expect to shake up, but we hope it's going to be in really cool ways.
And another set coming out, standard set, not modern set. We have, and help me out here, Outlaws of
Thunder
Junction. That's right, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Wild West theme.
Yeah.
Right? Cowboys and all that. How did you guys settle on Wild West? That sounds like a great setting for Matt. How did that come up?
So that's actually come up many, many years ago. Just what settings have influenced fantasy over time, what settings have a lot of familiar tropes that we can dig into and make cards out of. We're always looking for that when we make a Magic set. Like, how can we make a Magic set that looks different from every other Magic set? We've made so many, and we need to make infinite more if things go well. So, everything's on the table for what's going to make a cool setting for Magic. And originally we pitched a Western setting, I think 4 or 5 years ago. The higher-ups at the company were a little dubious of it. We didn't have our plan fleshed out all that well. When we put this, as Mark mentioned in the preview panel, with the Omen Paths opening up now that after the events of the Phyrexian War, Oko, the Planeswalker, has collected a gang of like the greatest villains of the multiverse. So that's a storytelling twist that we couldn't have executed on before. And they've come here to conduct a massive heist. So that's been on top of showing some visuals of like, look at we get these red rock landscapes, the desert, the sagebrush and saguaro and all that other really iconic Western trappings, made for a really eye-catching, novel-looking, cool Magic setting.
So some inspirations of Southern Nevada, Arizona, Texas.
Yep, California, Oklahoma, Grand Canyon, all that stuff. Yep.
So what kind of cowboys and white hat, black hat type things can we expect in that set?
I'm not going to spoil too much, but yeah, there are factions, of peacekeepers and outlaws. There's all sorts of other smaller groups operating as well. There's different new races, creature types. There was a picture of like a cactus folk, so we've put a real fantasy spin on this stuff as well. A whole new suite of mechanics that really play into the Western feel.
And kind of feel like you nailed it? You nailed it?
I think so. Like the gameplay mechanics, we showed off crimes, which is just a new phrase that means if you've targeted your opponent or any of their things. But it's so evocative. It's something that almost all of your Magic decks, I'm sure, do. So cards that pay you off for committing crimes, great fit. We have a bonus sheet full of famous crimes like Thoughtseize from throughout Magic's history, done in a really cool Western newspaper style. And the rest of the keyword suite that I'm sure we'll be unveiling over the next month or so are just as evocative. And the setting is just super beautiful and unique.
Well, as somebody who grew up in Southern Nevada myself, I'm really looking forward to not only how the set plays, but how it looks, how it feels, how it invokes. Yep. So personally, a standard set, a premier set, I am definitely looking forward to, just on a personal basis. Because we're all allowed to have something we like for us, right? I can like something for me, right?
Yeah, we make sets because we expect there's an audience that's going to love them. And whether you just love the genre of Western, like you said, you're from there. You know, that's a reason to love it, and I think we did a great job.
Terrific. Well, Aaron, while we still have about another minute or two here, is there anything else you want to say about the two sets, or anything else we have coming up here in 2024 for Magic the Gathering?
This is an awesome year of sets. We showed those two. We showed two other ones. We showed Assassin's Creed stuff off, and we showed Bloomborough, which was a setting I had a ton of fun working on as well. I'm sure you'll get into that with other folks, but I mean, we are running the gamut here of look, feel, vibe, tone. Just everything we can fit into a Magic year we did this year, and it's going to be amazing.
Okay, well, Aaron, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us here on Magic Untapped. A lot to look forward to from Wizards of the Coast and for the Magic the Gathering collectible card game for Magic Untapped. I'm Barry White. Thank you very much for watching.